Welcome back, brothers and sisters. Hope all is well and you enjoy these videos. If you like what I do, let me know by hitting the like button and leaving a comment below. If you know other people who might enjoy this content, go ahead and share on social media. And if you want to see more of these videos, subscribe and click the bell icon so you can be notified whenever I post. Thank you. Let's get on to the video. Alrighty guys, today we're going to be tying a square knot. It's a pretty simple knot. Most of you already know how to tie it. You might not even know you know how to tie it. We'll get into that later. Right now I'm using just one single piece of rope, but we can get into using multiple strands. Probably use these two to show you that later. For now, alright, got your right hand, your left hand, you're going to grab the rope. So if you remember from my last video where we went over the bowline, you'll know that in my left hand I usually hold the standing end, my right hand is the running end. This is because I'm right-handed. If that works for you, great. If not, just remember the running end and the standing end. So what we do is, a lot of people will say right over left for a square knot. So running end over standing end. And you wrap it around, and then it's going to be, your running end's over here, so now left goes over right. And then wrap it around, just like that. And you pull it tight. And that knot tightens, and it's good to go. There's other ways to do this though. You can take your standing end and make a bend, right? So before we talked about an overhand loop, this would be an underhand loop if it goes under, and this is a bend where it just bends the rope. It doesn't make a whole loop. See this? It doesn't cross, so it's not a loop, just a bend. So you make a bend, and then you can, with your running end, come out of the loop. Out of the bend. Go over one end, then under both, and then back through the bend, right next to where it came out of the bend. You can pull that tight and do the same. Now be careful when you tie it this way though. So if I untie this, if I were to make a bend, and then I were to come out, and then if I were to go the other way around, right? So it's the same thing, just the opposite direction. See, now that I've done this, these aren't even. My end pieces are on opposite ends. For a square knot to work, they need to be on the same end. That's how it gets tighter. If they're not on the same end, like this, see how that starts moving? And if I didn't have this tape here holding it back, it would slip all the way through and come out. But that makes the end stiff enough that it doesn't happen on this particular instance. So that would be sometimes called a thief's knot. Another thing that people tie a lot is a granny knot, which is like a square knot, but it comes around like that. So this one, again, it'll hold, just doesn't look as good. It's not as good for the rope because you have more spots where it's bending. You want it to be a more smooth transition. Alright, so if I get this out of our way, now we go to this, so you can see it's the same thing when you're tying two separate ends together. Alright, right over left, loop it back, left over right, loop it through, pull, and then you hold the two. So now these are going to be your standing ends, and both of these are running ends because you're using two different ends of a rope. You pull it tight, and then if you need to untie it, that's one of the best things about this knot is how easy it is to untie. You just hold and push. Pull really tight. All you need to do is hold and push. You might need to hold a little closer to get it on some cases, and if it's wet it could be a little more difficult, and you may need to use your nails to grab each end like this and pull it apart. But it is easy to untie. Again, if I show you what I showed you before, so if we take one end and make a bend, and we go up, when we come out of the bend, up, and we go back into our bend so that our running ends are on the same level. When we do that, we have a square knot. It pulls tight, comes apart. Now if we do it the wrong way, right, so if I have a bend like this, and then I go under it, and back over, and through, okay, pull it. Now it looks like a square knot still, right? Functions like it. But when you start pulling, like I said before, it'll slip all the way out. It doesn't hold. So be careful with that. And like I showed you guys before with the granny knot, so you do this, and then you do this, that'll hold still. I'll just show you that. Doesn't look as good, but no, I guess it won't on this rope. It usually does. So there we go. I just didn't tighten it first. So if you tighten it, it'll hold. And then it'll be a pain in the butt when you go to untie it. Alright, so those are square knots. And like I told you, you probably already know how to tie this. Yeah, I know I have a lot of rope and string laying around. Alright, so I'm going to use my wallet and show you this because I don't want to get a shoe on the table. But pretend this is your shoe. So all you're going to do is take it and you start by crossing it over. You pull those tight, right? And then what do? You make one loop. You go around. You put the other loop through that end. Alright. Now, that, believe it or not, is a square knot. Now these two ends on the string, if you pull, they'll loosen them. But if you pull these strings, and this one's knotted at the end, so give me a second to get it through there. Your aglet on the end of your shoelace won't be as difficult to pull through. And then you pull the loop on the other end out of there. Now the loop's gone, but you're left with a square knot. So every day when you tie your shoes, you're right there. You can tie a square knot. I hope you guys found this helpful. So this is a knot that's typically used for binding. So you put two ends of a rope together. Now, there are some issues with it, like if you have a rope and a string like this, or if they're just different sizes, and you want to tie a square knot, you can try. Do this and it'll come right apart. So, for this we'll do more something like this. Come around, and instead of, actually, let me put the bend back below because that's how we were working before. So we come out of our bend, go around the back, and instead of going back through the bend, we just loop it under the end that came out. That way when we pull this, it tightens down on that. So that'd be called a sheet bend. So even if you have two ropes a different size, you can still secure them. Just Be mindful if they're different size, you do that. If they're the same size or close to the same size, use square knot. And be careful not to tie the thieves knot where it'll slip, or the granny knot where if it's not tight enough it'll slip, or it just is bad for the rope. I hope that was helpful and that you guys learned something new today. See y'all in the next one. Bye.